What's up guys, Josh from Upright Health. Today I'm going to give you two excellent exercises for stretching your hip flexors. Now, a lot of the conventional hip flexor stretches that are out there may be okay for beginners, but they don't quite give us and our clients the benefit that we're looking for. So we've found these two exercises to give a little bit more load and intensity to the stretch to make the gains greater. So we're able to gain more range of motion and relief. Now, this is incredibly important if you have anterior pelvic tilt. And if you do, be sure to check out the link on the screen and check out our free exclusive videos on fixing anterior pelvic tilt. Let's get to these hip flexor stretches. So this is the standard hip flexor stretch that you'll see people use a lot. And like I mentioned earlier, this can be okay for beginners, but once we get past that beginner stage, we need a little bit more stimulus, okay? Because when I'm here, because my knee is just resting on the ground, I'm not getting much activation out of this hip. And to really increase your range of motion and flexibility, you need a component of strength and stability. So to do that, all we're gonna do is turn this into a standing stretch, okay? So what that's gonna look like is I'm just gonna come here, okay? So the main things that I'm thinking about doing here are pushing my knee backwards, trying to straighten that out, but I'm really trying to keep my butt squeezed and my core engaged, okay? And that's what's gonna give me a real stretch here in the front of the hip. If I let my butt go and I let my core soften up, I get this, and then I'm just getting extension from my lower back. We want the butt and the core on to then make sure that this hip flexor is actually stretching, okay? Now, the other thing that you really want to avoid is this back foot turning out. If that turns out, I'm cheating this stretch, okay? So just make sure that that toe is facing forward, and that makes my hips squared up here, okay? Now, once you're here, you can mess around with different positions. I can get lower here, trying to straighten out that back knee, squeezing the butt, keeping the core tight. I can come up a little bit higher. Another thing that I can do is I can put my arms up in the air, okay? Okay, so that is the standing hip flexor stretch. So for this stretch, we're gonna come back down to our knee. We're gonna place it on the ground, and optimally, I want this knee behind my hip, okay? So past 90 degrees, and really I wanna try to get it as far back there as I can, okay? So in this stretch, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be lifting this knee off the ground. I'm gonna hold that for about 2 to 3 seconds, and then I'm gonna relax and let it go back down to the ground, okay? This leg is just stabilizing, okay? So I'm not pushing myself up. I'm not doing a lunge or a squat. I'm gonna stay as low as I can, all right? So it's gonna look like this. I'm here, I tighten up, and I lift that back knee off the ground. I'm pressing it back, I'm holding, and then I relax, okay? Let's do that again. Lift, I hold, and I relax. All the same principles apply as we did in the standing hip flexor stretch. Still keeping this tight, still squeezing my butt, still keeping this foot squared up so my hips are straight. But now we're just a little bit lower to the ground here, and we're working in and out in a dynamic fashion, okay? So I'm gonna do it 2 more times. I'm up, really pushing the knee backwards, down, up, down. Okay, that is the kneeling knee off hip flexor stretch. Guys, those are 2 great hip flexor stretches to start doing today, and they're not gonna be super pleasant, right? If they are intense and uncomfortable, then that is a good sign that you're probably making some good gains in range of motion. Now, if you are watching this video to stretch your hip flexors because you have anterior pelvic tilt, make sure to check out our free exclusive videos because those are helping a lot of people fix their anterior pelvic tilt today. All right, guys, that's the video. Stretch those hip flexors and make sure that you remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't. Cool. I'm gonna use that one. I'm gonna use that one.